Welcome back to Untaming Masculinity, the podcast where we tackle issues relevant to men and their journeys to reclaim their masculinity. I'm Dan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host and good friend Brad. What is the word, my friend?
Oh, the word. So we might have talked about this at some point, but there's this running joke with Dan and any guests that we have, and just anybody in general, that I'm chronically late to our recordings every time, regardless. Tonight I actually had a good reason why I was late that I want to share with everybody. So we were making homemade pizza in the oven, right? Wife and I wanted some chicken Alfredo pizza. So she gets the Trader Joe's Alfredo jar out of the fridge, starts popping the lid, and like a jet stream shoots out the side of this jar, just like projectile vomit style, all over the floor, all over the wall. So it was my responsibility to be down on hands and knees with a paper towel, wiping up every spot of Alfredo. Took a while. It was an adventure. How are you doing, man?
Better than that. Yeah, I didn't have to clean up any, sauce vomit tonight, so it's good. No, it's good. It's been an interesting week for me. I think I mentioned before, I'm training for this Ragnar relay in October, and yesterday was my first 3+ mile day, and I got all excited and went out for my run and did a different route than I'm used to and hit a big uphill at the end and felt my left calf tighten up and realized at that point that I probably should stop running because I've done this before, and stubbornly decided that I still had 8 minutes left on my interval, so I'm going to keep running. And now I have a nice limp and probably a calf strain. So I'm working through that, and which is not typically that bad, except for the fact that I am supposed to be going to New Hampshire in 2 weeks to hike in the White Mountains.
Yeah, so timing is atrocious.
Timing is atrocious. The scary part was about a week ago, I was thinking how I was kind of playing with fire. But like I said, I've actually done this before, actually many times when I decide to run. And maybe it's a sign that I should be not running. But I know how to kind of handle it and get ready. So got a good plan in place. Running is Satan's spawn of exercise, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I got a pretty good plan in place, and that actually is a good segue to our guest tonight. Tonight we have Ryan Murray on. So Ryan is an online fitness and nutrition coach. He owns a company called Uplift Coaching that he started about 2 years ago, and he's steadily grown it. He is recently married, beginning a new chapter in his life, and the idea of his coaching business is that he helps his clients achieve a functional, healthy, and sustainable lifestyle in order to experience the most out of their life. His company's motto is, it's a lifestyle. So he works with clients to get the most out of their fitness journey without taking away from moments in life that make it special. And the reason why that was a good segue is because Ryan is actually my coach. So Ryan does a lot of my programming. He helps me with my nutrition, and we wanted to get him on tonight to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about, what he does and why it's important for men to be paying attention to this stuff. So welcome to the show, Ryan.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yeah, Brad, that sounds like a terrible way to start the evening with Alfredo sauce messing up pizza night.
Pizza was still delicious. It all worked out in the end, but I've never seen it just projectile vomit out the side of the jar. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen.
So it wasn't out of like the top of the jar. It was like a hole in the side?
No, it was off the top, but it wasn't. It just shot all directionally. It was like one jet. It was wild.
That is crazy.
That is
crazy.
So Ryan, it's good to see you, man.
You too.
Yeah.
It's been a little.
So let's kick it off. I mean, obviously, Dan gave a really good intro as to who you are and what you do. But I guess the question becomes, as is the case for most fitness coaches, what got you started in the coaching industry?
Oh, that's a good question. For that, we got to go back to the beginning of my fitness journey, all the way back to a young Ryan, on the road to 2012 Olympics gymnast. So at a very young age was very involved in fitness, but got out of that obviously for wanting to play with friends and not be stuck at the gym when you're like 8 years old. So that ended that, got away from that pretty much all the way up until senior year of high school. And that is then when, you get into working out because you want to be confident to pick up girls. So I did P90X and was like, this is what I need to get girls. Yeah. Turned out I actually just gained the confidence, and that's what helped to get girls. But I actually fell in love with working out then, and that kind of sparked the journey of getting into health and fitness, on and off working out through college year, and trade school, working in the city for audio engineering. I started to get extremely stressed, and that led me to yoga, actually, and getting my yoga certification to help combat that crazy lifestyle. And then I ended up just leaving the music and post-production industry and working at a gym, teaching yoga, and starting the first rendition of Uplift Coaching. I didn't know it at the time, but that was the mission and the goal. And since then, that was back in 2016. So from then on, it's just been refining that and getting better on and off with the coaching. And then in 2020 is when I looked back and I saw, wow, if I had just stuck with coaching, like I tell the people I've been helping to consistently attack the plan and their diet, where would I have been? So since then, I haven't let off the gas and have just been making it a lifestyle, fitness and coaching and business, just chipping away at it day by day. So that's how I got into it. And that's what led me here.
Along the lines of that, you talked about how you saw some transformation in your life and how that kind of led you down the path to yoga, and in turn that led you down to coaching. Now, knowing you the way that I do, some of that transformation, that you see, is going to come in the lives of others. As we've seen, Dan being one of your clients, we've seen a transformation in him, from fat, slovenly, man beast to slightly more refined beast.
He wasn't that
I
bad.
kid. He was, Dan's always been a monster, right? But along those lines, what I know that a certain element of coaching that appeals to you is the transformation and the effect you have in the lives of other people. How you can really get them from a certain level to an elevated state through discipline and through hard work. So talk to us about the draw that has for you, like where the transformation in the lives of others.
When I got into it, I was going to go music route, and I always liked music. I was going to do something with music because that is a way you can affect people and change their lives through music. Didn't know that somehow, you set off on one path and you find yourself on something completely out of the field that you didn't realize you'd be on. And that was health and fitness for me. Pivotal because I would say probably most of my young adult life battling depression and anxiety that I didn't even know was there. Working out was what was the link. And when I started to work at the gym, that was like the height of my depression and anxiety, and working out literally lifted me out of that pit. And I saw the effects that it had on my life when I looked back in high school, how much I needed it in high school just to gain that confidence, and then at college, and then working in the city, and then hitting that gym job was like a blessing in my life that I didn't even know I needed. And then when I realized I was working at the front desk and I could be the link to someone coming into the gym, seeing a smiling face, that they would probably come back. And up until I moved, going back to that gym and still seeing people that I signed up at the gym being there, improving their lives, and knowing that making your health a priority is the simple best investment you could do into yourself. And I could be the person to help you see that and reach that level. I mean, that's irreplaceable. So it's chasing that feeling that I once had in all the people that I coach and talk to and help out.
You mentioned depression and anxiety not once, but twice when you're going through that. It's really common for men in general to go through various stages of anxiety or depression. And something that Dan and I beat over and over and over again and hit over and over and over again is this idea that working out and getting yourself right physically sets you up for so much success as a man. It essentially sets the table for everything in your life. So talk to us a little bit about specifically the relationship between depression, anxiety, and your physical condition.
So aside from the like super sciencey stuff, like most of your serotonin is produced in your gut. So if your gut isn't healthy, you're probably not producing serotonin levels that you need to make you happy. You can apply what you learn in the gym, like bro science. You pick up heavy stuff and you put it down, and it's that's working out. You pick up something and you put it down, and you do all of that just over and over again, and it allows you to shut your brain off and not think about things while also simultaneously thinking about everything. But you get to a point where you're then, I'm going to try to pick up this heavier weight this time for more than I did the last time. And then you fail, but you're still alive and everything is fine. And then you just get to try it again. And then it almost becomes a challenge. And that just relates to life. In most cases nowadays, nothing's going to kill you. Like, not nothing, I shouldn't say that, but very little things are going to kill you. Just give it a try. Just go for it. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So it's just applying that same concept, which I noticed that's what I just applied to life. With when I was going through the depression, it was learning the tools to battle that. All right, let me give it a try. It worked. And then it didn't work. And then learning a new tool on how to handle it then worked, and then it didn't work. So life is a series of failures that we just learn from, and it's just a matter of taking the lessons away and actually applying them. And you get that from working out, because you try to deadlift and, all right, that was too heavy. Check your form. Okay, maybe your form wasn't right. All right, maybe you jumped up too high. Maybe you didn't rest long enough between sets. So there's so many variables that each time you go, you could just try something new. And that's what you do in life. Just try something new.
Yeah, I mean, there's a powerful message there. Trying something new and being in an area where failure is not completely detrimental to your existence is a powerful thing to think about. And I'm with you, being able to go into the gym and get a workout in, whether you're deadlifting heavy or you're doing some kind of, dare I say, CrossFit workout or anything else like that, where you can kind of just work hard, like you said, turn your mind off, but also think about everything at the same time. It's so refreshing. I mean, how many times have you come out of a workout feeling worse than when you walked in, right? Maybe physically you're worn down, but mentally, I mean, I can't think of one workout where I've come out and gone, you know what? I'm upset that I did that workout. Might be upset at the workout and the results of it, but I'm not necessarily upset that I did the workout. And usually I'm in a better mood. I mean, hell, there's times where my wife just looks at me, she goes, would you go to the goddamn gym and go work out and just come back a better person? Yeah, I agree with you there. I wanted to ask you one thing. How old are you, Ryan?
Oh, shoot. Where's my wife? 29, I think.
29. Okay.
29.
You're a young guy. The reason I ask is because one of the things that drew me to your coaching style is this concept of it's a lifestyle, and this concept of working hard but also experiencing life. Young guys especially, when they get into fitness, tend to be very gung-ho, right? They tend to be very just like, you do the diet, you do the workout, you do the workouts, you do the diet, and there's no time for any other crap. You don't have that, and you have this kind of grander view. So where did that kind of come into the practice?
I think a lot of it is, I think that's just who I am as a person. I've always been kind of more mellow, which is weird because most of the time when it is relating to workout, you don't think mellow, but I'm the guy that if I have headphones in at the gym, I'm listening to some reggae or some like chill jazz music, which sounds completely opposite of blasting heavy metal or hip hop or something like that. But I think a lot of it from that, it stemmed from just who I am, but also I did that route. I was training 6 days a week, 7 days a week. I did a bodybuilding show, men's physique. So not the man thong on the stage, not the board shorts one. And that was my life for a greater part of the year, but I needed it at that time because I made that promise to myself when I was like, I'm going to enter into prep. I made that promise to myself to see it through and to do it. But during that time, I was not living life. If I had a cheap meal, it looked a lot just like eating chicken and a vegetable out at a restaurant and, missing out on some of the moments in life that you just can't get back. Time with friends, time with family, that most of the people that I coach and most of the people that I talk to, they have this dichotomous thinking that they need to either be 7 days a week training hard. I can't touch a piece of cake. I can't have this. I can't do that. I'm not going to go to a friend's birthday party. Or the complete polar opposite of it, where it's like, if I'm not training hard, I'm going to have a 12-pack of beer every night and eat an entire piece of cake and all of this, where life happens in the middle of that. And you miss out on so much when you lean too hard to one way. There's a time and a place. If your goal is very specific to get to a certain physical look, you have to follow a certain plan. Let's hit it hard and let's get it done quick. So then you could go back to living and you learn the tools on how to do that. Or, hey, I want to live life. All right, cool. Well, you can live life, but not be a glutton. You can enjoy time with your family, which is irreplaceable. No tomorrow is guaranteed. And when you look back, you're not going to be like, dang, I'm so glad I missed my nieces or brothers or sisters or mom's birthday party because I hit a new PR at the gym. The gym's not going anywhere, but your family is. And why would you trade those opportunities for just crushing a PR? Like that's where it stemmed. And you don't have to sacrifice either of them. You just got to find out how to fit it into your life.
That's really powerful. And, obviously there are some people who have very segmented, they're very regimented and they're disciplined. I've never been that way, especially when it comes to diet. I've kind of chosen the flexible dieting, eating mentality. And the reason why is, for example, it was my daughter's birthday over the weekend and I had a piece of cake and I didn't feel bad or guilty for having a piece of cake. It's my daughter only turns 8 once. It was my opportunity to have, celebrate a day with her. And that's why, the way that you think about the gym, the way that you think about diet, that appeals to a lot of guys. Because yes, there are the highly regimented, obsessive types who can be incredibly disciplined. But for 95, 96, 97% of us, we can't do that. We need to find a happy medium where we're not sacrificing our lives for the sake of a gym, for the sake of a PR. So that's really appealing to the average guy.
Well, and I think that is something, I'm 29. I got a lot to learn, and I'm blessed to have you guys, on a friend level in my inner circle, as well as other like-minded men and family in my life that I always choose to learn from. And the responsibility as a coach falls on me to show that mercy, that grace, not mercy in that type of way, but that grace, that it's not being merciful or graceful to someone being their cheerleader. And me and Dan had a hard, tough love conversation not too long ago, and he's been crushing it. He wasn't getting that from me, so it's something I had to learn as a coach, but also as a man, is you can't you can't hold back and shy away from those tough love, hard conversations, because that's not the merciful thing to do. And that's not the ultimate plan of a leader. Is not they don't hold back those hard conversations. And as a coach, I have that responsibility to make sure I keep everyone that I'm looking after accountable to their goals and their challenges and their struggles, which a leader has to do as well, and a man has to do. You have to be able to do that with your family, and you have to be able to do that ultimately with yourself. Are you keeping yourself accountable to the promises you've made yourself and to others? And if not, that's where you then have to get real with yourself and see if you had that piece of cake at your daughter's birthday because you're never going to get that moment back and you enjoyed it, or are you having that piece of cake because I kind of just want some cake and I need to have a sweet and this and that. And then that's where you have to find that balance in there, because you can't always just deny that craving, because then it turns into something more, but you can't always just give into it, because then it turns into something more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the point I was going to hit on there. Is I love that concept of life happens in the middle. It makes perfect sense when you say it like that, right? Like you can live at the extremes, but you can't stay there. Life happens in the middle. I love that saying. And we've talked about this, offline. It's tough to know when life happens in the middle and when you use that as a justification to fall off the plan. And that is where, for me, having a coach comes in, because, and I would really like to have you speak about how you handle this with all of your clients in general, because I imagine it's different. But for me, I need somebody to come in and really question those choices and make sure that I'm not allowing that to be an excuse to fall off the plan. Whereas I imagine you have other clients who you need to basically tell them it's okay to have that piece of cake every once in a while. Do you see a lot of that?
Oh yes. It's, I was actually just joking about, this with one of my check-ins is, I had struggles with telling one client, hey, I need you to get up and get going. Like, you can do this, do more stuff. And then with them, I was like, I have to tell you to dial it back a little bit. Take a break, because it's honorable how gung-ho you are on this, but working out is a science, and nutrition and the type of workouts that you're doing, it is a science, and you have to understand it. It's easy to get carried away with it because it makes you feel good and everything like that. So having a coach step in and do that. So it comes down to the person and understanding their patterns. A lot of what I do, I believe it was like our first call, what I want to equip everyone that I work with the tools to eventually get to a point where they no longer need me. Because if I'm doing my job, they should be able to do this on their own, which, I mean, could be a bad business model, because eventually I'll run out of clients. But I want to build that relationship with them where they choose to stay with me because they get that accountability aspect. They get that friendship aspect, and they get that next level stuff, but it's less of that hand holding. Mm-hmm. But it boils down to the person that I'm talking to, and it's not that hard. Working out and reaching their goals, it's just making small little sacrifices along the way consistently. If you want to lose weight, eat less. If you want to gain muscle, progressively overload, mechanical tension. If you want to put on muscle, eat a little more. That's like the simplified version of what nutrition and fitness is all about. But with that comes nuances, and like the first 2 to 4 weeks of working with anyone, it's really it's getting to know them. Anyone now can hop online and figure out what their macros are and try to eat that, but not that calculator isn't going to know who the person is that's entering it. So it's getting to know them and seeing what they need and how to best serve them.
You mentioned this idea that, eating less, working out is not hard. And on a macro level, that's true. But on a micro level, I would argue that that's almost the opposite of true. It's very difficult on the micro level. And what I mean by that is when you introduce emotion and when you introduce some of the other variables that we run into in life, stressors. That's where some of those things like discipline can go out the window. So as a coach, how do you work with somebody who, for example, is an emotional eater, or somebody who's super stressed out and they miss their workout and then you find out that they ate pieces of pizza? Like, one, how do you address that? And two, what do you do to make sure that preemptively you can get ahead of that so they don't fall into that same trap again?
So I'd actually slightly disagree with you.
That's fair. No, that's great. I want to hear it.
The working out and everything, and the concept, the eat less, move, like to lose weight, that's not hard. The emotions are hard. Getting over those hurdles. So when you take the step back, what has to be done is written and it's clear. And it's like, if your goal is to lose weight, we know you have to do a combination of eating in a deficit and just making sure your activity levels are there. That's what it's simplified down to. But then you throw in all the wrenches, the emotional eating, the going out, and the peer pressure. Now those things are the hard parts to get through. So a lot of it is breaking it down and reiterating kind of the same principles. I think it takes like 15 times for a message to settle in, and then you got to keep hearing it and keep repeating the actions and doing that until it gets to that muscle memory level. Once that gets there, you can by default make those choices. It's then focusing on those other things, the stuff that happens in the middle, the hey, you went to a party and you had 4 pieces of pizza and like 3 pieces of cake. All right, what led to that? Why did you feel you had to do all of that? Was it mindless eating? Was it emotional? Was it this? Was it that? And then it's breaking down each of those categories, because whoever I'm working with knows, yeah, I probably shouldn't have had 4 slices of pizza. They know that was quote unquote wrong, but they don't know why it was led there. Like what led that to be there. And a lot of the times it's just not that muscle. They haven't flexed that muscle in understanding, hey, you can have one. They've been told so many times that all those things are terrible and you should not have them. And if you have them because they're cheat stuff, feel guilty about it and change it. Where it's like, well, if it's told to them that, hey, you can make that work and still do really great things, why not just have 1 to 2 slices then? And then even if you felt like you went over a little bit, you can just get back on track with the next meal.
That's one of the things that I really liked about one of our first few meetings was we talked about, what are your vices? And what do you didn't use the word non-negotiable, but what are the things you want to plan in? And I told you, I said, listen, I got a sweet tooth. I'm like, I'm a carb junkie and I got a sweet tooth. So I like my pizza, I like my pasta, and I like my sweets. And you said, okay, you can have those. We just have to work around it. So every night, I don't know if you've been looking at my food lately, but every night I have a sugar-free Jell-O as dessert. And it's a little cup of sugar-free Jell-O. I plan my day accordingly. I make sure I hit my protein. I make sure I hit my calories. But that's my treat for making sure that I am working the right way. And it doesn't kill me, right? A little bit of sugar-free Jell-O, a little bit of sugar-free whipped cream on top, and I am a happy guy for the rest of the day.
We had that conversation too about, I think it was, you liked having the Baby Bells and some pretzels or crackers. And I was like, dude, pre-track them or like fit in them for it. And then you had consistency and everything.
I've worked on those diets before where it's like very regimented, very just rote, just the same thing every day. There's no fun. There's no flexibility. This is probably one of the biggest things that I've learned from working with you. And it's so common sense when you think about it, but it's just going, okay, I'm going to this party. I'm going to this event. Excuse me. I know I'm going to have a piece of cake, like in Brad's case, or I'm going to have, there's going to be pizza there or whatever. Let's plan it appropriately, and let's plan on preloading the protein before you go. Maybe you have one slice of pizza and a big plate of salad or something like that, because that's usually there. Or whatever, you work through it. You still get to taste the things that you want to taste, but you're not gluttonous about it. And it's been great.
And I think that all wraps into, we'll use you as an example, is one of our first conversations. I was like, well, what do you want to be able to do? And you were like, you wanted to intimidate your daughter's friends and like also be able to be like an active dad and stuff like that.
Yep.
So what I'm hearing is you're not looking to step on Mr. Olympia stage and be 2% body fat juiced up. Cool. You know what you can do then? You can have cake and you can have things that are going to bring you joy in life within moderation, because you don't need to have all of nothing and then all of everything. You can be somewhere in the middle and still see phenomenal results.
The interesting thing that I found over the course, and we've been working for about a year now, I think, right?
Correct.
Is that as I get better and better about scheduling those things and working them in and making sure that I plan accordingly, the less and less I find myself wanting the bad stuff, the quote unquote bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I can get the little teaser and I'm happy with that, as opposed to being like, dude, I got to sit down and chow, half a pizza right now because it's there and it's delicious.
Yeah. It's going to go away. I need to get it now.
Right. It working through that mentality and having that little bit of self-discipline up front actually has allowed me to reduce those cravings a lot. I mean, alcohol is a big thing right now. I've been pre-planning a lot of that over the last year. I just realized today that I am, I'm 7 weeks sober, or just coming up on 7 weeks sober. And it's not even something that I've intentionally done. I've just gone, I really don't want it, and it's detrimental to the training. So if I'm going to put in calories, I'd rather have, a bigger stash of potatoes on my plate than a cold beer, Or I'm finding alternatives. Like I messaged you the other day. I picked up a case of those Athletic Brewing, non-alcoholic beers. It's like 25 calories for their light beer version. You know what? It scratched the itch that I had for a beer. I had one and I was good to go.
There you go.
Throughout all this conversation, there's one thing that I kept coming back to, right? It's this idea of, we talked about how, earlier you talked about your depression, your anxiety. We talk about the mental health crisis that we deal with, especially here in the U.S., where people are obese. They have an unhealthy relationship with food. They have a hard time setting foot in the gym. And what you had talked about when you're mentioning, when you're talking through that, what I kept coming back to is this idea that every single man has a reason why they struggle with eating or why they struggle getting into the gym. Oftentimes they may not know what that is, so it's going to require some digging, but sometimes they do. And sometimes they lie to themselves. They convince themselves that they're okay or that they're not, it's not that bad, right? But ultimately, while they're saying that, they're depressed. They're unhappy. They find all these struggles in their life simply because they're not making a conscious effort to take care of this temple, this body that we've been given. And ultimately, it's sad. But I guess the question I have for you, and maybe this can stir some conversation, is what would you say to a guy like that who's, struggling with his weight, who's like, I haven't been to the gym in 9 months. I'm 75 pounds overweight. I don't even know where to begin. What would you tell that man?
Show me someone that doesn't take care of their body, and I can tell you how they live their life. And it boils down to that. Our bodies were gifted to us, and if you need, to be harsh, if you need a scooter to get around Walmart, I can unfortunately probably tell what other areas of your life need help. And it's sad. It saddens me to see that. It's harsh. It's harsh saying it. I don't enjoy saying that. And it's just a harsh reality. If someone does not take care of their body, other areas of their life is lacking. If you're not eating, is kind of like a budget, and you got a certain amount to spend. You could spend it on silly stuff, or you could spend it on good stuff. And then that turns into a money conversation. You got a certain amount of money, you can be going around buying all the hottest toys and stuff like that, or you could be looking to invest it into your family. You got a certain amount of time in a day, and you say you don't have time to spend it with your family, and then I can show you that you're probably spending more time on social media or sports or computers or something like that. So if you're not making the time and the dedication for your health, all areas of your life will hurt. So find out what hurts the most and make every decision to make it better. Start with your health and then move forward from there.
Yeah, it's a really powerful concept. I think Dan and I have talked about this before, and it's a harsh topic, but the man who does not take care of himself physically generally struggles. He's an underachiever in his career. Like, I hate to say this, but you don't see too many obese men in high-ranking positions within companies. You tend to not see them thriving in business.
Not just his career, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you don't have to have, be 245 pounds with a six-pack. But if you're not in shape and you're extremely overweight and you don't take care of yourself, I'd be willing to bet that there are multiple areas of your life, like Ryan mentioned, where you're falling down. Yeah. You're probably not the best husband you could be. You're probably not the best father you could be. You're probably not the best employee you could be. You're probably not the best community member that you could be. Do you have to be physically fit to be any of those things? No. But it speaks to your discipline, your self-confidence, and your ability to start something and finish it. Yeah. That to me is where physical fitness plays the biggest role in life, is in that it teaches you to put in the continuous hard work and the continuous need to just day in and day out do the right things. Yeah, you're going to have days that are better than others, and yeah, you're going to have days where you have the birthday cake and days where you don't. But if you're making those right decisions much more than you're making the wrong decisions, you're going to be moving forward. And that's all aspects of life. The easiest way to do it is to start in your physical fitness. You start that model, and then we have all three of us have seen it. You do it in the gym and in the kitchen. That is going to transcend into different areas of your life, whether you want it to or not.
And 100%, and not every man is called to be the CEO of a company or to forge crazy new beginnings. Some are just called to be part of the pack. Some are called to just be workers. But that doesn't mean you have to settle for less in every area of your life. Not even settle for less, but you don't have to neglect areas of your life just because you're not called to be the CEO. You don't need this lofty goal. Even just something so underrated, a 30-minute walk per day can do wonders. And that one good decision can ripple into another good decision, and then another, and then another. And then that's where it then becomes a lifestyle, because if you're doing it, other people are going to start to notice, and then they might, hey, I'm going to make one good ripple and one good ripple and one good ripple. And then that spreads to maybe their family then doing it. And then everyone is just kind of rippling out. And it just started with the 30-minute walk. Like, it doesn't have to be these lofty things. It's just one good decision at a time that affects the trajectory of your life and where you're going.
I like that you guys riffed on that, because I was leading off with the CEO, and then I was going to go to being a husband, being a father, how you show up in your community. I will tell you one thing, though, Ryan. Not everybody's going to be a leader in their place of work, but every single man is going to be a leader within their home. Right? Men are called to be husbands, called to be fathers. It's their choice whether they want to pursue those things, but every man is called to do so. And I will tell you, and I can say this pretty definitively, if you're leaving something on the table in relation to your fitness, you're not living up to your potential as a husband, as a father, period.
100%. How can you be a protector of your wife, and not in like a controlling type of way, but in that protector role that we are to fulfill, that women want, as much as society says they don't want it, we have to fill that protector role. And if we can't see our toes and we grunt when we try to stand up, or we need a scooter when we're in Walmart, how are you going to protect your wife? You know, how, and not from external things per se every time. It's not going to be a home intruder. It's not going to be a loose dog. It's not going to be something crazy like that. Sometimes it is protecting her heart from the inner demons she faces. And if you're not strong mentally and physically, that you get from physical fitness and health, you're not going to be able to protect her. And that weighs heavy on me. Magnify that with your kids. How can you be there for your kids if you're not putting your health in a priority for them?
The other thing with kids too is, Brad and I talk a lot about legacy. If your kids see you putting in the effort and see that the importance that you place on physical fitness, they're going to emulate that. I mean, Brad's got, younger kids than I do, and I'm sure that his kids see it. Ryan, you and I have talked about how, especially one of my daughters in particular, I mean, every weekend, Dad, can we go to the gym? Dad, can we go to the gym? She's busting her ass in sports. And then on the weekend, she's like, let's go to the gym. And I don't want to sound conceited about it, but I have to think that part of that is because she sees the importance that I place on it. And she sees the importance of working hard to attain the goals that you want. She's by no means like a big girl, but she's not this little wafy kid. So she knows that she has to work at it already in life. And she's putting in the hard work. She pays attention to her diet. She works out. She still has fun as a kid, believe me. There's plenty of parties that she goes to and she has a good time and all that good stuff, but she's very conscious of it. And I have to think that that's the legacy that we're setting by the examples that we set, at least in part.
100%. It's so huge because it's just kids especially will emulate what they see and less of what they hear. And if you're just telling them to eat veggies, but you're not eating it themselves, they'll never eat veggies. And then that's where then it translates into other aspects of your life. You are showing the dedication to the gym. That's also then showing the dedication to your wife. And then it's showing the dedication to your job and providing for them and helping them. Like it ripples again into every aspect of your life. It's not that compartment of like, oh, you're just committed to the gym. That's it. Like, no, you tend to emulate it when you're.
The concept of the value of hard work is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So one last thing I was thinking about is, Ryan, you recently got married, right?
Yes, I did.
You're in a very unique and interesting place in that you've got this thriving business that you're, that's growing, right? Like it's growing tremendously, but you also have the unique opportunity of instilling principles of the kind of man you want to be from the jump, from the point you got married. A lot of men make that discovery later on in their marriage. Mm-hmm. I've been married 8 years, 7 years, 6 years. I don't know what it was. It was a while before I made those conclusions about.
Your wife better not listen.
Well, she knows. She knows I was a mess for the first years of our marriage. So, I mean, I guess talk to us a little bit about that, about, meeting somebody, falling in love with somebody, the kind of man you're trying to be for her. And in turn, the kind of woman that she is. Like, talk to us a little bit about who you married, like where you are in life right now, I guess.
So it took moving out of the wonderful state of New Jersey to find my absolutely amazing wife. And honestly, that just stems from faith and getting out there. It's one thing to pray every day, and asking God, hey, I think I'm a catch. Bring me a lady, but that's one thing. But at the end of the day, he answers and he always says yes, or he doesn't always say yes. He'll either say yes, but not now, or he'll say no. And he was saying absolutely, Ryan, but not now. And he had to put me through trials to lead me to the man that I am today. Because if I did not go through what I went through, we would be having a different conversation. Probably entirely, but and especially with her, going through breakups and the depression and the anxiety and things aren't gonna pan out for me. Going through those type of thought process built me to being like, actually, no, like, yeah, this is going to pan out, and I know what I want, and I know how to get it, and I know who I am confidently and what I'm looking for. So it comes down to, you got to do that work on yourself. You have to be willing to, as a man, you have to be able to date yourself. You got to get out. You got to experience the world. And you've got to put yourself out there, not in dating apps. I mean, do that, sure, but like, get out there and talk to people. Do the things that most men are not doing today, and you will find yourself, because most of the time the answer is yes, but not now. You got to be the person first before you get what you want.
That's you said two very powerful things there. Do the things that most men are not doing today, and you'll find yourself. You need to be the person first before you get what you want. Like, there's power in that. And I think that that's a really huge testament for, what you're striving to do through coaching. One thing that I'm sure Dan can attest to is coaching goes well beyond the gym, well beyond the physical results. There's so much there that's mental. And on some plane, it's there spiritually as well. Like, as you're doing the things that most men don't do, as you're doing things in the gym, in the kitchen, that even the previous version of yourself did not do, you will find yourself. And I think Dan could probably speak to that in terms of the results that he's seen just in working with you the last few months.
Yeah, I mean, it's putting in the work. And so here's the problem with society right now and in the fitness movement, is that we're all expecting the magic pill. We're all expecting the immediate result. We're all expecting the, I worked hard this week. Why am I not, seeing this? And Ryan, he'll be the first to tell you, even right now, he talks me off the ledge every once in a while because I'm putting in a lot of work and the scale has literally not moved in weeks and weeks. Body composition is changing, but the scale doesn't move. And it freaks people out. It freaks me out. Because typically in the past, when I've done similar work, I've seen different results. But having somebody in your corner, a coach like Ryan, is powerful in the sense that they have that third person, almost unemotional view. And I'm sure it becomes emotional for you because you do become attached to your clients, but it's not nearly as emotional a journey for you as it is for those of us who are, doing the work on ourselves. And to have that third party come in and look at things objectively and just say, no, this is happening because of this. You're not seeing this because of that. We're going to tweak this. We're going to tweak that. We're going to keep these the same, stay the course, and we're going to get to where we want to go. It's a huge thing, especially for me, because Ryan will tell you too. I get squirrel syndrome. It's like, I put in like 3 or 4 weeks of like the same workout. I'm like, But Ryan, those deadlifts look really fun. Can we go do those? And he's like, no, we can do those in 6 to 8 weeks, but you need to do this now. And having that third person, that person outside of your own head who's consciously looking at this, it's a huge help.
I think you hit the nail on the head too. It's that third party. It's emotional, but it also helps remove the emotion first. Reiterates the plan, which is simple, run the plan, and then it's like, now let's work through that hard stuff. And like for that example, hey, I've been doing what you're saying and the scale's not going down. And then it's like, dude, but look at your pictures. And it's like, okay, yeah, and look at your lifts. Oh yeah, they're going up, and it's like, there you go, like keep going, like that type of thing. Or the other conversation that we had that, was a learning point for me. It was like, hey dude, I'm not seeing results. And then it's like, hey man, have you been sticking to the plan consistently?
Yep.
No. All right. Type of deal. And it's like, all right, well that's on my end too. And that's where I want to get with all of my clients. And it's that friendship, but in the coaching type of way, it's that friendship where it's like, let's help through the challenge and stuff. I'm still going to hold your feet to the fire type of deal. But knowing that, hey, I got your back too, and I'm trying to learn what's going to serve you best, and working with who the person is in front of me helps out a lot.
That's an important point for clients though too. Like if you guys are considering getting a coach, or even if you have a coach, be very clear on what you need out of them. And I think that this is something where Ryan and I spent probably the first 6 months kind of pussyfooting around this. Is I need somebody who's going to hold my feet to the fire. I need somebody who's going to call me out and say, hey dude, you're not doing this. You're not hitting your diet. You're not hitting your lifts. You're not working out the right way. Your consistency isn't there, whatever it is. I mean, Ryan's been busting my ass for the last 2 weeks because I refuse to get fruits and vegetables into my diet at the level that he wants me to. And he's going to continue to bust my ass because I need that. But we spent the first 6 months probably feeling each other out and determining, what do you need? How do I need to approach that? How far is too far? How far is not far enough? So you, as a client, you have to tell your coach what you need and not be afraid to tell them that. But you also have to have some patience while you guys build that relationship and build that rapport. And it's important on both sides, right? Because I'm sure you getting comfortable with the client. We were friendly before we went into a coaching situation, so it may have even evolved a little bit quicker. We didn't want to step on each other's toes either, so I'm not sure.
It's that balance, but and then keeping in the theme of lifestyle is, if you're working with a coach or even a significant other or a kid or a coworker, I mean, it boils down to communication, and you gotta put all that stuff out there, expectations and what you want out of a certain interaction. And we're constantly learning, and that's the fun part with coaching. And I mean, just life in general is you test for interest in a conversation. If someone's having a bad day, they're not going to really be full of piss and vinegar, but it's nothing personal on you. So then you just move on and you learn from that conversation, and you can learn from coaching. And it's like, you can learn as a client and I learn as a coach. And it's like, how do I get to that point quicker now with the next people I coach? And how then do I get to it even quicker after that? And then after that. And you want that in a coach that's always learning. You want that in a client that is always willing to learn. You want that in a spouse because you guys will learn and grow together. You want your children to consistently learn and grow. You have to be what you want other people to be as well.
Very true. Very true. So we're coming up on an hour here, and I want to be kind of cognizant of everyone's time. I think we could probably sit here and talk for another hour or two. And maybe we'll have to have you back on to dig into some more stuff. But why don't you let the guys know where they can find you online?
For sure. So you can find me mostly on Instagram. It is coach_mer, or that's basically the best place to go. Coach_mer. I have my Facebook group, Uplift Coaching, that you could join. But feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram. And we'll talk it up.
Yeah, we'll have links to all of that. He's also a coach on the First Form app, and that's actually what I do a lot of my tracking through. So if you guys want to get in touch with him there, we'll try to get a link up for that as well. And anything else you want to add, Rye, before we head out?
Just follow me, reach out. Always happy to talk, always happy to help. The First Form app is a great tool. Let's have a conversation and, I guess just make health and fitness a lifestyle. Like, let's work on that. Make it more enjoyable and fun for everyone.
Sounds good. Brad, anything on your end?
No, just that was a great conversation, Ryan. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't even dive into your pirate persona. We'll have to save that for another time.
Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah.
That's a whole deep dive.
That's a very deep dive.
Next time. All right. So fellas, thank you all for listening. Make sure you're checking us out online. Untaming Masculinity. You can find all of our show notes for this and all of our other episodes. We'll have links for all of Ryan's links up on the show notes for this episode there. You can also find links to our social media. We're very active on Instagram, and we have YouTube as well where you can catch these episodes. So make sure you're giving us a rating and review or a like wherever you listen to us. If you listen to us on Apple iTunes or Spotify, make sure you're definitely dropping us a rating and review. That helps us spread the word and get more guys listening to this content. Other than that, we look forward to having you back next week. We've got another great guest lined up, so make sure you come and join us. And until then, we will leave you with just one question. What are you doing to untame your masculinity?